You are walking through the dank, dark, and mysterious swamps of Louisiana as the full moon shines on the waters that glisten around you when you suddenly hear a howl. Turning to look in that direction, you are greeted by a massive shadowy silhouette that is standing on two legs. There exists a legendary curse in Louisiana that's origin dates back throughout the ages. First brought into America through French settlers and carried forward by their Creole and Cajun descendants, this curse is still whispered about to this day. Like a contagious disease, this curse can spread from person to person, long removed from its original source. If you find yourself unlucky enough to become hexed by this curse, a terrible transformation begins to take hold as you slowly lose your humanity. This curse can be cured if you act fast enough and are willing to pay the price that is. I'd like for you all to meet the Rougarou. The Rougarou is a fascinating take on a legend that might be as old as humanity itself. The creature is described as having the body of a man and the head of a wolf or dog. The Rougarou is also described as a large, muscular creature with charcoal or black fur, glowing eyes, long, sharp teeth and claws, and a human-like face with a snout. It is said to prowl the swamps and bayous of Louisiana at night, emerging from the darkness and vanishing at dawn. In other words, it is very similarly related to the werewolf transformation, but there is a key difference between the creatures. Werewolves are one of the oldest stories humanity has created. The idea of a human transforming into an unstoppable killing machine of a beast goes back to our earliest ancestors, and in the modern day even has a diagnosis: lycanthropy. This is the name for a mental disorder that causes someone to believe they are transforming into a wolf. It is related directly to the werewolf mythos, as the person believes so much in the transformation they will begin wandering around naked on all fours, attacking people they come across, and in some extreme cases, they have been known to cannibalize their victims. It is thought by psychiatrists who study the phenomena that the wolf is most often associated with people due to the popularity of werewolves in our media. Dating back to when we used oral storytelling to pass on the legend, all the way up to our modern films. Werewolf movies have been a staple of horror cinema for decades, with numerous entries ranging from classic tales like The Wolf Man to modern interpretations like An American Werewolf in London and The Howling. These films often explore themes of transformation, primal instincts, and the struggle between humanity and savagery. While not as prolific as vampire or zombie movies, werewolf films continue to be a popular subgenre within the horror genre, captivating audiences with their mix of suspense, gore, and supernatural elements. We all know the story of how the werewolf curse works more or less. Someone gets bitten by a werewolf, and with the next full moon, they begin their transformation into a human-wolf hybrid that loses all sense of self. Hell, even the word lunatic comes from ancient times, with the root word luna, meaning moon. Because even our ancestors realized there was some strange connection between people acting crazy and the full moon itself. Yet, the Rougarou has a few ways to obtain the curse, be it a hex placed on the person by a witch or voodoo practitioner, or by spilling the blood of a Rougarou. According to legend, once someone is turned into the creature, they have 101 days to break the curse, or else their transformation will become permanent. Some variants of the story state that as long as they don't tell anyone within those 101 days about becoming this creature, the curse will end. Other versions state that the person must pass on the curse in that time frame, and that is where some truly fascinating stories emerge from. There is an old story that takes place in France in the 1600s of two brothers who owned a grain mill, Jean Plant and Thomas. Jean Plant was a large and rough man who rather enjoyed his alcohol. He was known for starting fights with people and kept a large scythe above his bed as a warning to anyone who might cross him. His brother, Thomas, on the other hand, was more timid and soft-spoken, and I imagine probably more well-liked amongst people. Anyway, one day, as they were working in the mill, a beggar happened to drift into the mill from out of the woods and beg the brothers for money. Jean Plant was having none of it and kicked the beggar out of the mill. Soon after the entire mill stopped working, and the two brothers checked everything they could to figure out the source to the problem, but everything appeared to be in order. It was then Thomas suggested the beggar they turned away must have placed a curse on the mill. Jean Plante, already angry at the situation and frustrated by his brother's belief in superstitions, got into an altercation with Thomas, eventually throwing his brother to the ground. Thomas was now infuriated, but knew he wasn't nearly as strong as Jean Plante was, and so he got up and dusted himself off and walked away, cursing his brother as he went. Jean Plante then returned to working on the mill. When nighttime fell, though, Jean Plante had trouble falling asleep and tossed and turned as the night sky was filled with thunder, lightning, and howling wind. After a while of this tossing and turning, Jean Plante sat up in bed and looked around his dark room. To his utter shock, there sat a pair of glowing red eyes watching him from the corner of his room. Jean Plante sat there in disbelief for what must have felt like an eternity, afraid to make a move and believing that he simply drank too much that day. Then lightning flashed and illuminated the bedroom for a split second, and he could make out the creature as a large black wolf that was now snarling at him. This was no dream, and with quick thinking, Jean Plante grabbed the scythe above his bed just as the beast pounced towards him, and he swung the scythe with all the power he could muster in the pitch black. He heard the cry of an animal as he fell back into his bed from the force he generated with the swing, and the next thing he knew, his room was illuminated by candlelight. His brother Thomas was there, and had lit the candle on Jean Plante's bedside table. Utterly confused by the situation, Jean Plante kept looking around the room for the large creature that was just there, but all he saw was the bloody ear of the wolf laying on the floor. He asked his brother if he saw the beast, and in doing so, noticed Thomas's ear was missing, and blood was running down his neck. It is said that Jean Plante then took on the curse from his brother, but was never able to break it. A lot of the Rougarou stories involve the creature jumping out at people and startling them on purpose. Not to kill or harm them, but in order to get them to defend themselves, in hope that they will spill the blood of the creature and relieve the Rougarou of the curse, only for them to take on that same curse themselves. It's a wild story, a sad story, and an interesting insight into humanity to describe certain horrible events as being only capable by an animal, a beast, or some kind of creature. We have a tendency to do this till this very day. Serial or mass killers, for example, are often labeled as monsters. And yes, their actions are absolutely deplorable behavior, but to call them monsters is a scapegoat for what they truly are. Human. Humans are complicated and complex, and while I believe the vast majority are generally good-natured and helpful, there also exists a few outliers that shine a light on the darker side of what it means to be human. And these old stories about werewolves highlight that symbolism that has always been present in humanity. Half man, half beast, fully human. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. It is truly appreciated. If you want to support my content directly, there is a link to Teespring and Patreon in the description below. Patrons are able to have their names added to the end credits of my videos, are able to vote on polls for upcoming videos, and gain access to high-resolution artwork used in videos. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, leave no trace. Leave no trace.